During a recent rally in New York, President Donald Trump stated that once military operations against Iran conclude, the United States will officially declare the Strait of Hormuz a territory of the United States. The justification for this claim rests on the physical control already established by the U.S. Navy. Trump asserted that a naval blockade currently manages all transit, claiming that no ships get through without American permission. Tehran's reaction was immediate and uncompromising. Iranian officials, led by Deputy Foreign Minister Qasem Gharibabadi, rejected the claim, stating the strait has always been Iranian and will remain so. A superpower unilaterally claiming an international waterway challenges decades of global trade norms, creating a dangerous friction point for every major maritime choke point on the planet. This map highlights why this specific passage is the center of the world's energy focus. The Strait of Hormuz is the only gateway connecting the Persian Gulf to the open sea. The physical space is incredibly restricted. At its narrowest, the gap between Iran and the coastlines of Oman and the UAE is just 33 nautical miles. The actual lanes used by commercial ships are even tighter, only 2 nautical miles wide in each direction. These narrow corridors handle 20 to 21 million barrels of petroleum and petroleum products every single day. That is roughly 20% of the world's total daily consumption. Maintaining this massive volume requires a constant, precise flow of massive supertankers navigating these shallow, high-traffic lanes. Controlling this tiny 33-mile stretch provides the power to instantly disrupt the global economy and trigger an unprecedented energy shortage. This raises a critical question. Can a single nation legally annex an international strait? Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, the Strait of Hormuz is an international strait. It is governed by the regime of transit passage, which guarantees all nations the right to free and continuous navigation for their merchant vessels. In this crisis, we are seeing a direct collision between established maritime law and the physical reality of a superpower's naval blockade. This territorial claim functions as a maximalist psychological and diplomatic lever designed to force strategic surrender through the threat of permanent annexation. Iran has responded to the pressure by increasing its own military presence, using naval fast attack boats and coastal batteries to assert authority over its northern coastline. The tension is further complicated by a localized dispute over 3 Iranian Su-24 fighter pilots, Javad Salehi, Abdelmejid Dashtian, and Omran Beyreveshian, who were downed during hostilities. Iran has formally requested the release of these pilots from Qatar, though officials in Doha have issued an official denial, stating they are not holding the men. This pilot dispute illustrates how volatile the region has become. With trust between neighbors breaking down, even a verbal claim of annexation can act as a trigger for a much larger conflict. The global markets reacted to the annexation threat immediately. Brent crude prices surged toward $90 per barrel as traders factored in the risk of a total blockade. Beyond the price of oil, the cost of shipping it has soared. Maritime war risk insurance premiums increased by over 40%, adding a massive overhead to global freight rates. This chart breaks down why India is uniquely vulnerable. Over 80% of India's crude oil imports pass through this single choke point, making its energy security entirely dependent on the stability of the strait. A political bluff delivered in New York translates directly into expensive import bills and rising inflation for any nation that relies on this corridor. To protect its trade, the Indian Navy is currently conducting maritime security operations under Operation Sankalp, providing naval escorts to ensure Indian-flagged vessels can navigate the Gulf of Oman safely. The crisis validates the warning Prime Minister Modi delivered on August 15th, when he identified the global weaponization of sea routes as a direct threat to national security. In response, India is accelerating its shift toward domestic nuclear power and green hydrogen missions, aiming to decouple its economy from foreign oil dependencies. The move to annex Hormuz has essentially turned energy security into an existential race, pushing dependent nations to decouple their economies from foreign naval corridors and seek absolute independence.